Alrighty, guys, we're now 4-0 in our last 4 crowd pleaser teasers on my website. And if you want to see a video breakdown of every single one of my personal plays here today, games that I personally have my own action on, the only way to do that is to join my full access, all-inclusive board member package on patreon.com/BrockPage. But before we get into some more of that, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my my NBA free pick video here today for Friday, March 24th, 2023. Happy Friday to you. The weekend's finally here. Of course, my name is Brock Page, and I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets, games that I personally have my own action on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. Once again, guys, I'm 4-0 in my last 4 crowd pleaser teasers on that website. And once again, folks, if you want to see a video breakdown of every single one of my personal bets here today, there's only one way you can do that, and that's to sign up for my full access, all-inclusive board member package on that site. Not only do board members get access to my board member podcast every single day, you also get access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day until April 1st. I currently have over 575 members who are signed up and active on my website right now. And you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on my website is I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at the Pacers at the Celtics, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Boston's the 12-point favorite, totals 234.5. Now, the Celtics are 26-9 in the Garden this year, and they've certainly had their way with Indy in recent gatherings. Out of their last 10 games against the Pacers, Boston got the W 7 times. As far as this season's concerned, the Celtics are in the top 3 in scoring. Jason Tatum averages a team-high 30 points a game along with 8 rebounds. Meanwhile, Malcolm Brogdon's drilling nearly 46% of his shots from beyond the arc. Now, they're facing a Pacer team on the other side who gives up more points a game than most clubs in the league. They're actually in the bottom 5 in defensive points per game. And no real surprise here, guys, the Pacers are arguably the worst defensive rebounding team in the East. Now, injury-wise, top scorer Tyrese Halliburton is questionable. Kendall Brown is out. Meanwhile, for Boston on the other side, Peyton Pritchard is questionable for them. When it comes to the total, Boston has gone 23-12 to the over in the Garden this year. They also saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Indy get over the line. Now, the Pacers on the other side, they went 7-3 the over in their last 10. Give me Boston minus 12 over 234.5. Next matchup, Spurs, Wizards, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Washington's minus 9, totals 228. And for a team laying nearly double digits, Wizards have been pretty bad covering the point spread. They failed to cover in 8 out of their last 10. They're also going to work tonight without top scorers Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma. Now, they're facing a Spurs club who covered recently against the likes of Atlanta, Memphis, and Orlando. And in their last 10 games against the Wizards, the Spurs did get the W 7 times. Keldon Johnson leads the club with 21 points a game along with 5 boards. Meanwhile, Devontae Graham's making nearly 40% of his shots from beyond the arc. Now, injury-wise, Collins and Vassell are questionable. Sochan and Langford are out. Meanwhile, for Washington, once again, Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma, they are inactive for them. When it comes to the total, the Wizards saw overs in 11 of 13 home games against Western Conference opponents. Meanwhile, San Antonio went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Spurs plus 9 over 228. Next game, Pistons, Raptors, 7:30 p.m. East. Toronto's minus 14.5, totals 224. As much as I hate this number here, the Raptors have played well in their own building. They're currently 23-14 in their own arena. They covered the point spread in just about 60% of those home games. Pascal Siakam leads the roster right now with 24 points a game along with 7 rebounds. Meanwhile, Freddie VanVleet scores just about 20 points a game himself. Now they're taking on a Detroit squad on the other side of things, who actually allows more points a game than any other franchise in the NBA except for one. And when it comes to offensive production, this is pretty much the worst perimeter shooting team in the NBA. Now, injury-wise, Burks, Bogey, Magruder, and Stewart, they're all out. Not going to suit up today. Livers and Durant are also listed as questionable. Keep an eye on them. Meanwhile, for Portland, Trent, Achua, Wieskamp, and Barnes, they're all banged up for the Blazers. When it comes to the total, the Pistons saw their last 3 straight road games all stay under the total. They're also 8-2 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Raptors minus 14.5, under 224. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Rockets at the Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Memphis is minus 13, totals 233. Now, the Grizzlies have been nearly impossible to beat in the FedEx Forum. They're 31-15 in Memphis this year. They're currently the toughest team to shoot against at home in the league. Desmond Bane has a handful of steals on the season, and he also averages nearly 5 defensive boards. Now, Bane is currently drilling 40% of his 3 balls. Meanwhile, John Morant, he's scoring a team-high 26 points a game along with 8 assists. Now, they're facing a Rockets team on the other side of things who actually has the worst record in the Western Conference. And no real shocker here, guys. The Rockets are currently the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA. Now, injury-wise, Kaminsky's questionable. Tate is out. Meanwhile, for the Grizzlies, both Williams are inactive. Now, total-wise, the Grizzlies have held Houston to just 108 points a game in their last 10 meetings. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. The Rockets also went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me Memphis minus 13, under 233. Next matchup, it is going to be Hornets at the Mavericks, 8:30 p.m. East. Dallas is minus 14, totals 227.5. For a team who lost 6 out of their last 9, this is a mighty big number for the Mavs. They're also one of the worst covering teams in the entire NBA. Dallas is covering in just 38% of their contests for the entire season. And Dallas's biggest issue this year has been, well, offensive rebounding. These guys are currently dead last in the league in offensive boards per game. Now, they're facing a Charlotte team on the other side of things who is actually a top 10 offensive rebounding team themselves. P.J. Washington grabs just about 5 boards a game, and he also scores 15 points per contest. Now, Gordon Hayward, he makes 47% of his attempts from the field. When it comes to the injury report, Rozier, Oubre, Smith, and Martin, they're all questionable for Charlotte. Meanwhile, for Dallas on the other side of things, Kyrie Irving and Tim Hardaway, they are currently listed as questionable. Now, total-wise, Dallas went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, Charlotte saw their last 4 straight on the road all stay under. It'd be Charlotte plus 14, under 227.5. Next contest, Bucks, Jazz, 9 o'clock East. Milwaukee's the 9-point favorite on the road, totals 236. And even though I'm not a huge fan of this number, the Jazz are going to work without any type of star power tonight. Lauri Markkanen, Rudy Gay, and Jordan Clarkson are all out. Johnny Juzang's also questionable, and Colin Sexton's still inactive. But even when these guys are mostly healthy, the Jazz have had significant issues on defense. They're allowing nearly 118 points per contest. Now they're facing a Milwaukee team on the other side who won 7 out of their last 9. And in addition to that, they're also the toughest team in the NBA to shoot against on the road. They currently have the lowest defensive field goal percentage on the road in the entire NBA. And they're also leading the league in defending the three-pointer away from home as well. Now, Drew Holiday, he has a bunch of steals on the defensive end of the court this season, along with 5 boards a night. Now, Holiday is currently the team's second leading scorer on the offensive end of the court. Meanwhile, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he averages a team-high 31 points a game himself, and he's also averaging nearly a dozen rebounds a game. Now, injury-wise, Dragic, Crowder, Leonard, and Middleton are all out for Milwaukee. Meanwhile, for Utah, once again, Clarkson, Markkanen, Sexton, and Rudy Gay. They are all out. Johnny Juzang is questionable. When it comes to the total, Milwaukee's 24-11 to the under in their travels. They also saw unders more recently against the likes of San Antonio, Toronto, and Phoenix. Give me Milwaukee -9, under 239. Next contest, Bulls, Blazers, 10 o'clock East. Chicago's -2.5, totals 226. And even though Chicago's favored on the road, they have had a tough time getting the W away from the Windy City. They're currently 14-21 in their travels. They've also had a tough time getting on the scoreboard in those road games. And they're facing a Portland squad on the other side of things who covered recently against the likes of Utah, Philadelphia, and Detroit. And in their last 10 meetings with Chicago, the Blazers got the W 7 times. Now, Dame Lillard, he's averaging a team-best 32 points per contest. Meanwhile, Cam Reddish, he's making 45% of his field goals with his new team. Now, injury-wise, Nurkic and Little are questionable. Baji, Simons, Winslow, and Grant are out. Meanwhile, for the Bulls on the other side, DeRozan, Caruso, and Green are questionable. Justin Lewis is also out for them. Now, total-wise, Chicago's allowed 117 points a game in their last 10 meetings with Portland. So once again, if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. And no real shock here, guys. 6 out of those 10 matchups I just mentioned did get over the total. Now, Portland, they are 22-13 to the over in the Moda Center. Give me the Blazers +2.5, over 226. Next game, Sixers, Warriors, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Golden State's the 5-point favorite. Totals 234.5. Now, the Warriors have been pretty tough to beat at home. They're currently 29-7 in the Chase Center. And they covered in just about 70% of those home games. When it comes to offensive production, the Warriors average more points a game than any other team in the league except for Sacramento. Steph Curry averages nearly 30 points a game, and he also drills 43% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson knocks down nearly 41% of his shots from beyond the arc. Now, they're facing a Philly team who's probably going to work here tonight without their top scorers. Joel Embiid and James Harden, they're both questionable with lower body injuries. And that's certainly bad news for Philly because they're already having issues rebounding the basketball. You know, Joe's their biggest rebounder. And even with that, they've had a tough time grabbing boards. They're actually in the bottom 3 in offensive boards per game on the road. And in their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Golden State, the Sixers have been held to just 109 points per contest. Now, injury-wise, Wiggins, Rollins, and Payton, they are all out for Golden State. When it comes to the total, the Warriors saw unders in 21 home games this year. Meanwhile, Philly saw 5 out of their last 8 stay under the total themselves. Give me Golden State -5, under 234.5. Next ball game, Suns, Kings, 10 o'clock East. Sacramento's -4.5, totals 240. And the Kings are scoring a league-high 124 points a game at home. De'Aaron Fox also scores a team-high 25 points a game. And he makes 51% of his attempts from the field. Now, Domantas Sabonis, he's second on the team in points and also leads the league in boards. Now, they're facing a Suns team who failed to cover in their last 6 straight, and they also have a losing record on the road. When it comes to offensive production, the Suns really do tend to start off slow. They're currently in the bottom 5 in first quarter scoring. Now, no real surprise here, guys. Phoenix is averaging fewer second quarter points on the road than most clubs in the West. When it comes to the injury report, Kevin Durant's still out. DeAndre Ayton's also inactive, so they're probably going to lose the rebounding battle here today. Meanwhile, for the Kings on the other side, Kevin Huerter's a little banged up for them. Keep an eye on his status. When it comes to the total in this one, Sacramento's 24-12 to the over in the Golden One Center. Meanwhile, Phoenix saw overs in 5 out of their last 6 away games. Give me Sacramento -4.5, over 240. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It is going to be the Thunder at the Lakers, 10:30 Eastern tip-off. The LA Lakers are -6, totals 232. Now, the Lakers failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. And in LA's last 10 meetings with Oklahoma City, the Lakers covered the point spread in just 40% of those gatherings. As far as this season's concerned, the Lakers have certainly had their issues underneath the basket. These guys grabbed fewer defensive boards at home than any other team in the league except for one. Now, they're also facing an Oklahoma City team who rebounds quite well on offense, and they've certainly had little issue getting on the scoreboard. OKC is currently in the top 5 in offensive points per game. And in their last 10 matchups, OKC's covered the point spread in 70% of those ball games. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he averages a team-best 31 points a game. He's also making 51% of his attempts from the field. Meanwhile, Josh Giddey's second on the roster in points. He's also averaging over 7.5 rebounds a game. Now, injury-wise, LeBron James and Mo Bamba, they are still out for the Lakers. When it comes to the total, the Lakers saw overs against the likes of the Suns, Pelicans, and Raptors. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Oklahoma City get over the line. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Give me Oklahoma City plus 6 over 232. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into our quick pick recap. Give me the Boston Celtics minus 12 over 234.5. San Antonio Spurs plus 9 over 228. I'm 4-0 in my last 4 crowd pleaser teasers on my website. And if you want to see a full video breakdown of every single one of my personal sports bets here today, there's only one way you can do that, and that's to sign up for my all-inclusive full access board member package on patreon.com/BrockPage. Give me the Toronto Raptors minus 14.5 under 224. Memphis Grizzlies minus 13 under 233. Charlotte Hornets plus 14 under 227.5. Milwaukee Bucks minus 9 under 239. Portland Trailblazers plus 2.5 over 226. Golden State Warriors minus 5 under 234.5. Sacramento Kings minus 4.5 over 240. With my next and final pick for the video, give me Oklahoma City plus 6 over 232.